So many people voted for Donald Trump because the price of eggs were too high, they said. They voted for Donald Trump because they had to count cheese to send to their daughter's school. I did a video about that one. They voted for Donald Trump because they said that he was great with inflation. And when he was in office last time, everything was good, not understanding that he was riding off the back of Obama's economy. They trusted him with the economy, a guy who discovered what groceries were during the campaign. I say all this to say that they are about to get a really big F around and find out. And it starts today. The 25% tariffs that Trump was going to put on Mexico and Canada earlier in his administration this time, that they had put a stay on for, I believe, 30 days. That 30 days is up. Tariffs go into effect today. And Trump has already said that there is absolutely nothing that can change his mind. Not even knowledge. So let's discuss a little bit about what people are going to see. And when they see these price changes, they aren't going to have anybody to blame. When you see these price changes, you cannot blame Obama. You cannot blame Biden. When you see these price changes, the changes that you said you voted for, totally despite the fact that he is found liable for AS, he is a convicted felon, 34 counts, the worst person that you could ever vote for when it came to the economy, being that he bankrupted like 8 businesses, 4 of them casinos. How do you bankrupt a casino? But this guy found a way. After getting all the money from his father to start said thing, he didn't start from the bottom. My man was born on a gold toilet. But okay, let's talk about what's going to be affected here, because it's going to be a lot of things. Out of everybody in the world, we buy the most from Canada, Mexico, and China. And every single one of these countries are about to, today, be tariffed 25% or even 20%. So China's getting 20%. It was 10, but Trump, for whatever reason, decided that he wanted us to pay even more money. So it's 20% now. 25% for our closest allies and the people who we buy from the most. But let's go ahead and get into the numbers. Let's start with things that affect literally everybody. Let's start with produce. We get $49 billion in fruits and vegetables from Mexico. Okay? We get $41 billion from farm imports from Canada. We buy from them. And those are the things that are imported to this country. Tequila, Canadian whiskey, avocados, all of those things will be affected. There will be retaliatory tariffs as well on soybean and corn. That actually happened in the first administration, and it really hurt the farmers here in the States. And Trump had to actually spend taxpayer dollars, money from me and you, to bail out those farmers that he hurt with his first trade war. Now, at that time, he had only put a 10% tariff on China, which buys our soybean and corn. It's 20% now. Okay, for those of you who thought that inflation was like this crazy thing and tariffs was going to fix that, you about to find out. What else is going to be affected? Well, cars. So if you are leasing a car, buying a car, renting a car, all of those prices are going to go up. We get $79 billion worth of cars from Mexico. We get $31 billion from Canada. This is per year. Car parts. So let's just say you decide you want to keep your car. Well, fine, I just won't buy a car. My car will last forever. If you want car parts for that car, we get $81 billion worth of our car parts from Mexico. We get $19 billion worth of our car parts from Canada. All right. Oil, gas. So gas prices. You guys were upset about gas prices and all this, and you think the gas prices are going to come down under Trump. Well, guess what? We get $98 billion worth of our oil from Canada, and they have already said that they are going to be putting retaliatory tariffs. They may even cut it off completely. They are also threatening to cut off the energy that they are providing to the Midwest states and the northern states up there. We get $12 billion worth of oil from Mexico. We make our own oil, but we are getting this cheaper oil from these countries. Now, they can either cut us off completely from said oil, skyrocketing our prices, or they will end up making us pay a ton more for said oil, because that oil is being imported here, and it was being imported cheaper. But because Trump wants to make enemies of our allies, they can retaliate and have promised to do so. I will be adding a video of what Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, said. I'll be adding that video to my YouTube channel, but that one I will be tacking on for you to get a little bit more context as to what Canada is planning to do.
He's underestimating the Canadian people, the resilience of the Canadian people, and the strength of the Canadian people. I said, number one, I don't start a tariff war, but we're going to win this tariff war. Right off the hop, I've directed the LCBO, we're the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world, to remove every bit of U.S. alcohol off the shelves. I know my good friend, the governor of Kentucky, he's losing his mind right now. I said, you better talk to your president. Mitch McConnell, senior senator from Kentucky, they're losing their mind. We purchase over $1 billion of alcohol, 3,600 products, 35 states. It's going to hit them. We call them the kitchen table issues. Then we're going to cancel Starlinks right away from Elon Musk. Not that $100 million makes a difference for him, but it's principle. I've directed the procurement of over $30 billion of goods, not to go to the U.S., to make sure we buy Ontario first. And if we can't find it in Ontario and we can't build it in Ontario, we go across the country. I'm asking politely, until I implement it, every retail store, when you go look at the shelf marker that has the price, we need to see a Canadian flag on that price. A lot of people can't pick it up and scan it. So please work with us, or we're going to legislate it. I'll tell you this. Uranium for the U.S. comes from Saskatchewan. I've had deep conversations with my good friend, closest ally, Scott Moe, the Premier of Saskatchewan. That uranium goes over to Port Hope, Ontario to get processed. From Port Hope, it goes down to get enriched, down to the U.S. If we got a stockpile or high-grade nickel here in Ontario and sell it to the world, so be it. The potash that fertilizes all their farming communities. As President Trump is going after our dairy farmers, we're sending them fertilizer. 87% of it is going to the U.S. And yeah, can they try to get potash everywhere else? They can, but they can't get it up the Mississippi River. So they're stuck with Canadian potash. Can they get uranium? Yeah, if they want to cozy up to Russia, which I see President Trump doing, you can try to get uranium there. But why would you do that? We want to ship more uranium, more potash, more nickel, more energy, and build an AMCAN fortress. I can't for the life of me figure out why this guy's attacking his closest neighbors, allies, and friend. A tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans. I'm going to be hammering the airwaves to get that message to the Americans. They're going to get hurt. It's the wrong decision. But if they want to try to annihilate Ontario, I will do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face. I'm encouraging every other province to do the same. Quebec, Manitoba, BC, we all have to act in unison. Out east, they rely on our energy. They need to feel the pain. They want to come at us hard, we're going to come back twice as hard.
China, 20% tariff on goods coming in from China. Now, if you are anything like me, you noticed as a kid that everything says made in China, okay? So, games, toys, phones, computers, sporting goods, clothes, anything from Temu. All right, basically all the things will now have a 20% tariff. So all the cheap goods that you get from China, this is going to hurt small businesses. This is going to hurt big businesses. We get a lot of things manufactured in China, and when we import those things in, that is going to hurt us because our companies that import these things in, and a lot of company owners voted for Trump because they thought that that was going to help them. It's not. When you get your stuff in from China, you are now going to have to either eat that 20% cost, which is going to take your revenue down, or more than likely, because businesses don't do that, you're going to have to charge your people more. And the likelihood, especially as a small business, of them buying your more expensive stuff is going to be lowered down. This is bad.